style. What I like about these is that Fnatic's come, like when you play pure split push, you can't fall behind early because then you get forced into team fights and you're useless. So the fact they have an early game jungler to try and get these lanes ahead is really good for Fnatic. I like this last pick as well for G2 though. Like getting Lulu this late makes every Korean team get like a heart attack already. Be like, why was she not picked much earlier? What's happening here? But also, it gives them a super strong 2v2 lane against the cannon, where if you're G2, if you just stay dead even early game, you should get to that point in mid game where Fnatic will start to try and split push. And as a team, the best team in Europe, your macro and shot calling should be good enough to handle these 3 lanes Fnatic are trying to individually outplay them in.
Should be good enough. Will G2 be able to handle? I mean, this isn't a surprise now, right? Fnatic did not pull any more wild cards. It's basically the same composition at its core as a concept.
This is last week all over again. Zyra for Justice. It was first pick last week.
Fiddlesticks was, of course, banned away, so G2 have done a little bit of additional research over and above this composition. And let's see if they've got the playstyle. I mean, the expectation is that they do. Trashy thinks, or he wants to see the split push AD carry.
He's getting it.
He's going to see the split push ADC. We'll see how successful it is. Undefeated coach versus undefeated team. Hashtag FNC win. Hashtag G2 win. I totally stole that from Finley. Yeah, she tweeted that one
I saw it. And now we used it twice already. Will we get a third time?
It's a great story because the moment they lose, he's not undefeated anymore.
That is very true.
And let's see whether or not it'll be this series. Loading up. This was one of the opening series of the split, Deficio, where Caps landed and got that solo kill onto Perks. It feels like such a long time ago.
True.
Because all of that hype from that solo kill fizzled. It didn't really keep up, and I really need to see what Caps can do. He's got this counter pick. He managed to pick this into Syndra, and this is the kid. This is the rookie, the investment that has not yet paid off.
Yeah, you're not going to say the name, are you?
I'm not going to.
No, because I remember that first series where we used it a little bit. And then...
are you going to say it?
Yeah, no. I'm not going to say it.
Can we see the performance first and then decide?
It's Baby Bjergsen. That's what it is.
Too soon, bro. Too soon.
Yeah, I saw your interview, Trevor. I saw your interview. Anyway, let's see. G2 here. They're trying to get some early information. They want to find out where Elise is. Because, again, if you're G2, like what Youngberg says on stage right there before he leaves is like, guys, watch out for Elise early game. It's where she shines. It's how they want to try and get an advantage. Do not get surprised if Broxer goes from lane to lane to lane to try and get Fnatic ahead. Sometimes you gotta be ready.
A lot of pressure. And split push.
Look at this, they're gonna find him.
Fnatic push, Fnatic push, Fnatic push is going to find Expect. And he gets caught up by 3 people. Defensive flash away. Not yet killed. There's first blood.
Yep.
Picked up by Caps.
And Youngberg has already taken his book, ripped it apart with his big muscles. He's like, guys, I told you. You need to be ready for the unexpected. And Fnatic set up a really good level 1 trap because G2 were invading bottom side. They saw that. Like, okay, cool. We take top side and we don't leave. That is first blood. That is flash and teleport from Expect.
Very big advantage. Now, luckily, it is early enough in the game for the teleport not to be incredibly pivotal. But for Caps, the guy who picked up first blood, I think he got around 400 gold for that. Hasn't backed yet, and he has teleport in a soft counter matchup.
In a matchup where Caps will become the split pusher, who can't be stopped by Syndra. Syndra obviously becomes a very strong team fighter, great at creating picks as well. But I say split pusher for Caps. We don't actually know where he's going to be in the mid to late game. He has teleport. Was the same on LeBlanc, but he was holding mid. Now, Echo does have fine wave clear with Q. So he can sit and hold mid lane, technically, but it's a bit of an odd one.
Only because we don't know what Reckless and Soaz will do.
I mean, you don't put Ken in mid. Ken in mid, like, what is that garbage? That's not going to do anything. You have to keep Ken in side lane. Reckless will only play side lane in this game. It's become his thing.
Yeah.
And then you have Shen ulti on the cannon.
Signature move.
Like, come on, Trevor. If Reckless and Caps at the same time call for Shen ulti, who gets it? Who's the captain? Who's the veteran?
Yeah, who's the captain now? I mean, I would stand United Reckless.
He gets it. He will get it.
I mean, Caps has got his ultimate to save his own life. So, bro, you're on your own.
You're right.
You know, deal with your own problems.
Yeah, it's a personal problem over there.
Jesus and Reckless are being shoved in. This is what you expect into Kalista Lulu at this stage of the game. And
I mean, that we expect, yes, but I also think just like player for player. we criticized Mithy and Sven earlier, mainly Mithy, earlier in the split. I think both these guys are playing really well at the moment. I think they've gone back, you know, really focused hard, practiced a ton, and then they are now, you know, ready for playoffs. That's such a sports broadcast statement.
Yeah.
They've been practicing really hard. They've really been working.
The meta has also moved into their favor a little bit as well. Sven has been quite outspoken about the champion pool from early to middle of the split and how he wasn't able to have that same level of impact. But now he's in a champion like Kalista, Lucian's back in there as well, and definitely has the tools to reclaim his former glory.
I agree. I don't think anyone really took it from him in Europe, but it's just we normally see him be so dominant. I think only Forgiven was kind of challenging him. If we look back last bit, let's see. Swords is roaming down here. This was probably not called by Expect. I'm not sure if he saw Swords actually leave, and he might think Swords is just back in base.
And remember, Broxah was setting up in the river. Early game impact from this Elise. Options going to be available. Let's look at both of these junglers, of course, because Broxah on Elise wants to get his lanes ahead. Trick on Rengar wants to prevent lanes being run over later in the game. In terms of how the teams play around their lanes, Broxah's slightly lower on the jungle proximity versus Trick.
Yeah, this game he needs to be higher because he's on Elise. Like, he needs to have impact setting up these lanes here, but also joining skirmishes later. It's kind of funny because in this matchup, the early game is where we have to focus on Broxah. And like, he needs to have, you know, a really good early game. But then later on, it's all about Trick, because again, it's against this pure split push comp, where if Rengar can join a fight in the side lane with his ulti, he can very often burst people down so quickly, even with his Shen ulti. If it's like a Syndra plus a Rengar against a Kennen and Shen, I give it to the Rengar and to the Syndra. So Trick is super important when it comes to stopping Fnatic from just pushing 3 lanes.
And of course, in terms of play style, G2 will be very comfortable with that. They had a number of series this split where they had fairly even, fairly passive early to mid games, early game, laning phase rather. And then they just switched it on as the game progressed. Sven took a lot of damage in that bottom lane, was caught out by a couple of stuns while we were chatting. And with the wave underneath his tower, just going to be looking to, you know, last hit as safely as possible. Jesus and Reckless doing relatively okay, all things considered, for the first few minutes.
Yeah, I think after the first few levels, it does even out quite a bit. Jesus as well in the center. Obviously, he's still a strong laner. So I think now it's not going to be like a heavy advantage for anyone on the side of Fnatic in the 2v2, but that's why you got to talk about Shen. First jungle matchup.
All right, where is the Shen? Stand United's available. Gonna throw that down onto Broxah. Phase dive available for Caps, but he won't find a target, and Trick is able to flash over the wall. Now Jez is looking to throw some autos out, and G2 defensive.
Yeah, Trick will be very happy with that trade. Getting Shen ulti for his flash is definitely not terrible if you're G2, because as we mentioned before here, 2v2 bottom lane, it might be even, but with Shen ulti, it will go in favor of Fnatic. So this allows G2's bottom lane a bit of an easier time down there, and the first Shen ulti was
not effective.
Not effective. Got a flash. I was about to say it was not successful, but he did get a summoner spell. If they can follow that up, maybe.
Potentially save Brox's life as well. All right, down the bottom lane. Supportal combat as Mithy and Jesus trade skill shots back and forth.
And you can see this trade would have been hard to take had Shen still had ulti. Because obviously they didn't overextend. They played it really far back. But you always kind of tell yourself, ooh, careful playing aggressive. What if Shen joins? What if Elise is already here? That's a 4v2 suddenly, and we will just die and lose tower. So it always helps getting rid of that ulti, and also means G2 doesn't have to lane swap right now.
Yeah, and G2 getting close to level 6 here. Wild growth for Mithy. He's going to flash forward. Sven throws the flash down as well. Doesn't really close the distance. Exhaust coming up. Rend not going to secure the kill, and G2 still not on the board.
Another trade they can take because of no Shen ulti now mid lane.
All right, Scatter the Weak knocks Caps to safety, and Trick does not connect with the bowler strike. Perks is up 20 CS, by the way. This lane matchup, obviously not where Echo's going to shine, but luckily, thanks to First Blood, Caps is still ahead in goals.
Yeah, we have to remember Caps got level 2 a bit later. Bot lane.
All right, this is a 1-on-2. Jesus is nowhere nearby. Unfortunately, Mithy decided to go defensive instead of aggressive with Fate's Call, and he popped into the bush.
Oh, interesting choice there by Mithy. Trick might get caught now. I don't even get to talk.
Officio, you're just setting me up, but no further action is happening. I like it. We had a really exciting series to start the day between Splice and UOL. And Fnatic and G2, they're trading blows back and forth. And at 9 minutes, Fnatic still hold a marginal gold lead here. thanks to that first blood.
Got the first blood, and obviously, as we said before, with Caps falling behind early in this lane, because he came into lane and didn't get level 2 as fast as Perks, because Perks was focused on the minions. Caps had to obviously run down after he got that kill, so Perks could actually kind of harass him a lot and force him back to base, and cost him quite a bit of CS early. I think Caps is still okay after getting that first blood. And he's even in experience, which is the most important part for him at the moment, level 8 to level 8.
Yeah, and of course, if you look like itemization-wise, the Hextech Revolver and Sheen going into Forbidden Chapter, a lot of additional damage now picked up on the side of Cap, so his burst combo is just spiked.
Yeah, I want to talk about like what people are doing now with this Revolver here. It obviously goes into Proto Build later, but rushing Proto Build is not always that effective in terms of pure damage output. So a lot of people just keep it on the Revolver. It's very strong, gives a good amount of burst damage when you do jump in, and then you start building other things around it, and you can get the Proto Build a bit later. So getting Sheen here, due to the timing on gold when he went back, is really good for him. And then you can still get Proto Build now, and you just have actually even more burst.
Yeah, definitely going to help Caps out. Especially because he needs to be that strong split pusher if Reckless lets him. And that could be how Fnatic opens up the map. All right, we're 10 minutes in. We've not looked at Expect at all. He's got his teleport available. He's just dealing with Soez in the top lane. Soez no TP, but Stand United is up. So G2 will be a little cautious if they decide to pick any fights. Of course, Expect will be able to teleport for any skirmishes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You notice how Expect would sacrifice a wave on top side to just walk back to lane to keep teleport, because his job is to match the Shen global. If he TPs back to lane because he gets greedy for another wave of CS, then Source goes bot lane and dives Sven and Mickey. And then suddenly there's a bot lane tower and favor with Fnatic, and that one wave for Nautilus is not worth it.
No, it's not. Caps goes for the Chrono Break, but Chrono Break dodges Unleash Power. Unleash Power dodged by Chrono Break. Just trading ultimates there. You talked about missing a wave, Sufficio. Expect us down 2 waves at the moment.
I can guarantee you he does not care.
No, fair. All right, here comes Trick. He's going to leap over the plants. Jezz gets knocked up into the air by the Wild Growth. This could be the first kill for G2. Stand United saves Jezz's life. Now all of a sudden, Soez kills Miffy, and Fnatic are 3 kills to 0.
Oh, G2 thought they could actually burst him down. They're going for another kill.
They are. Broxah gets the cocoon, and Sven gets killed. 1 or 2 more autos is left. It's Soez with a double.
So huge for Fnatic. G2 thought they could burst down Jezz in time before Shen arrived, but the damage stopped because of the root, and then suddenly Shen appears. That's 2 instant kills for them. Another kill on Sven. Bot lane tower. We just talked about how if Shen can get an ulti off to the bottom lane, that is kills plus tower. Fnatic just got a massive goal lead, and it was G2 forced to play, but they miscalculated the damage.
They did indeed. Soez is able to teleport top as well, saving the tower. G2 are down 3,000 gold thanks to this play.
So no flash Jesses. G2 are saying we can burst her through the Shen ulti, but the knock-up stopped Trick and Mythic from getting close, and Sven was not really in range, so they don't have the damage to kill Jesses fast enough. Kenneth didn't even use heal. Jesses didn't even use his exhaust. There were more defensive tools for Fnatic to stay alive for longer. So while it's a good response, we also have to say then that was a bad call by G2.
Yep.
Because not even all the tools were used from Fnatic's side to stay alive.
Okay, G2, you are now playing League of Legends in hard mode. Giving up first blood, first tower blood, 4 kills, like 2 kills and 2 assists to a top lane Shen, as well as a kill for Caps' mid lane Echo. Fnatic now have all the tools they need.
All 3 split pushers have kills. Now this is the response here. TP from Expect.
Where does it go? I mean, depth charge is available, and yeah, I mean, it's a poopy teleport.
That was a poopy teleport. Could use a different word, but that was... We mentioned how G2, when stuff suddenly goes a little bit wrong, you know, some of the things they maybe didn't expect in their playbook can suddenly go wrong. They can falter a little bit, and that teleport was really optimistic.
All right, there's no Stand United for a while for Soez. His teleport's still on cooldown, so the game should even out for the next few minutes, and then it's up to Fnatic to make a play.
Yeah, 100%, because then they will have double global.
Yes, especially because Caps will have his available. Look at this, Fnatic. They're going to set themselves up for a non-contested dragon. Of course, there's no teleport from G2 available. There's no grouping. And there we go, Fnatic at first dragon as well, Deficio. If Fnatic were to take a game of G2, hell, if they were going to set themselves up to maybe win the series, this is the type of plays they need to have. You know, great punish on G2's gank attempt.
And the important thing to highlight, Trevor, is if Fnatic wins one game, not the entire series, just one game, then Rocket needs to beat G2 on Saturday to take that playoff spot away from them. And that would be Rocket beating the undefeated team in Europe. So in many ways, Fnatic currently could change after today. I went back to just see that TP play from Expect. I'm like, there must be a reason he went for it. Like, what did he see? They saw Broxah and Jessis invade the jungle of G2, and then they just instantly called, let's teleport. Perks was between his two mid towers, he was far away. Sven and Mithy were near the dragon, they were far away. No one except for Trick were even close to the two guys from Fnatic who invaded, and they still called for the teleport.
Well, maybe the call was in Korean, and nobody else could catch up.
Maybe. I mean, the others were running, but they were just really far away, so really was an optimistic play that Fnatic shut down instantly.
Well, Fnatic want to shut down Expect once again. There's a lot of support coming in here. Reckless has flashed forward. Expect is very, very tanky, taking a lot of damage. Soaz, with Spirit's Refuge, dodges everything, and Reckless is on the board with his second kill. G2 are starting to fall apart here as Fnatic look to take their second tower.
So, we're going to get a trade here. Fnatic already got, of course, the bottom tower after that Shen play much earlier. They will get the top tower as well. Now we just get the point where Fnatic gets to play their game. Because it's Fnatic who wants to get the towers.
Yes.
It's Fnatic who wants these lanes where you can start pushing. It's really hard to split push when there's a tier 1 tower in front of you. If it's a tier 2 tower on the other hand, then suddenly you got a ton of space. And you play Shen, Kennen, very mobile, Echo, insanely mobile in the side lanes. Fnatic wants this big open map.
Are you a believer in Fnatic's ability to win?
I am in this game, 100%. I think Fnatic right now have done a lot of the very hard work in the start.
The cocoon catches Trick. He forces to flash away and Wild buy some time. Now Expect is taunted up. Here comes Perks from the south. Drageline catches onto Broxah and he turns himself into Spider Form. Stranglethorns buys a couple of seconds of time. Sven is not with the team yet. Throw the Hunters down and G2 fancy themselves a re-engage. Where is the leap bowler strike from Trick? He jumps in and not going to catch it onto Soaz, but there's no support. There's no damage. Trick is going in and G2 or not.
Yeah, we had Mithy and Sven coming from base. They weren't actually close enough to join a potential fight, so Fnatic gets another tower in the top lane. 3 towers to 1, 4k gold lead, Infernal Drake, and pure split push comp. And a kill on Sven.
Yeah, Sven's dead. There's simply no way. Oh, is Mithy dead as well? Caps just blows him up.
G2 in this game right now, they're not ready. Because Fnatic, again, we said this in the Giant series, they will make some of these plays where they wait in brushes longer than you maybe expect. In G2's mind, everyone for Fnatic already went back to base. They reset, which is the macro play. In Fnatic's mind, they're like, no, we're gonna wait here. Even if I have to wait for 30 seconds, there's a high chance Sven steps forward, and if he does, we kill him. And they get another kill from it.
So Fisher, the side lanes for G2 have fallen apart. Okay, 2 kills for Expect, 2 deaths rather. 2 deaths apiece for Sven and Mithy. The man on your screen, Perks, he's had a very quiet laning phase. He's up 50-odd CS now. He's been a quiet performer all split, but reliable.
Right. Let's hope that Perks does not press tap in this game.
Right.
Because he will see 2 lanes around him who's been slaughtered and lost everything. Let's get to the replay. We can look at the graphic after. It even checks the brush with Sven, but it doesn't actually see them. It doesn't look. So he thought he was safe. And Fnatic are like, no, we're gonna wait here. Look for this kill. This is Caps in a 1v3 situation. So Mithy is like, he's not gonna jump me. I have exhaust, I have flash. And he walks into where the little clone from Echo is, and he just gets jumped and one shot. G2 is falling apart completely in this game here. And they are walking into the small traps Fnatic is setting up. That was an Echo in 1v3. Mithy was just like, la, I'm dead.
And Caps flashes to safety as well. Gets out of range of the hook. No follow-up from G2. Which of the 27 split pushes will pick up?
Take it, Broxah. Be greedy.
It's going to be Caps. Okay, so can I allow Caps to play on the side lanes? And Kennen mid is something that's going to be set up here.
Then we assume it's going to be the Kennen mid, and then we get the insane Echo split push on the side lane. Yeah. It doesn't count if you voted the last 5 minutes after Fnatic were super far ahead.
Of course it counts. It's on the screen.
No, it doesn't you have to vote after champ select and be like, who's going to win? You can't say, oh, Fnatic 6-0. I think they're going to win. Haha, look at me. Like, that doesn't work.
Well, 75% of the fans online and in the crowd here in support of Fnatic. And Deficio, as you mentioned, Fnatic looking for just one game win to force Rockat's hand, right? This would allow Fnatic to at least qualify for playoffs. But that means they might be looking at H2K as a quarterfinal opponent if they can close this game out, of course, and we see the rest of the results close in.
In a perfect world for Fnatic, you get a few 2-0s and you catch Misfits and get to second place. But that obviously requires Misfits to lose as well. And they play Giants this week, which has been the weakest team in Group A. So we should assume Misfits will take that win and therefore make it very hard for Fnatic to do more than just get third place.
Well, we assumed Misfits would take the win over Roccat, and that didn't happen.
Because we're terrible analysts.
We did indeed.
Come on.
All right, Perks, I think it's your turn to die. He gets caught out by the roots. Stranglethorns knocks him into the air. Cocoon connects as well. Broxah feels like he's got 100% accuracy today. This Elise pick as we get to 20 minutes. Landing those cocoons, and Caps is playing a side lane.
This is another situation where a team is on a losing streak and then they win one series, a sloppy series, but they win it. And then they get a ton of confidence, a ton of momentum. Fnatic before the Giants series last week hadn't won in like 4 weeks in a row. Then they beat Giants. Now they're beating G2A in game 1.
All right, flash engage here from Expect. Defensive flash from Broxah. Mippy's the target. He's got no wild growth available, and Stand United dissuades G2 from continuing. Fnatic continue to apply pressure in this mid lane. They've got a numbers advantage. Look, there's no support from Perks or Trick just yet.
Well, it is hard for G2 to do anything right now because they can't really defend the side lanes, can't really defend the siege on the mid tower without Syndra either. Trick is setting up his ulti, he's spotted. And also Fnatic have a tower, so I feel like every time G2 have tried to force anything, it's been way too late.
Yeah, way too late indeed. And look at these skill shots here. Jez is just really catches Perks a little too far forward.
Yeah, Jez is okay, potentially trading his life for that root onto Syndra. Perks didn't actually use Flash instantly and got caught and died because of it.
Deficio, I've been informed by our stats team that at 20 minutes, this was the largest gold deficit G2 has suffered all split long. All split long. Fnatic.
One person in the crowd were like,
woo, thank you.
Stats, yeah. Stats. Give me more stats.
Well, Fnatic currently number 3 in Group A. In a great position, but now we get to judge, right? How well do Fnatic close a game out? Caps' split push last week worked pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Reckless' split push, less effective on that Lucian.
Well, he's jumping Sven right now, Trev.
All right, Sven's gonna be in some trouble. Chrono break. Buys some time here. Now Caps, he gets turned into a Munchkin, silenced as well. There's no ulti, defensive flash over the wall, and Perk shuts him down.
We give him a 2 out of 10 for that one.
Okay. What did he get 2 points for?
Because he almost like bursted down Kalista,
right, okay.
so that was a little bit in there. Sadly for him, the rest of the team couldn't really pressure anywhere. Before now, Sources push up the wave. Expect can go back to base and grab it unless G2 are rushing a Baron. They have Kalista. Always need to remember that. They're not rushing Baron, so Expect ends up recalling now, will lose his tower.
Okay, 5th tower of the game in favor of Fnatic. The map continues to open. And there was a lot of vision inside G2's jungle as G2 were able to punish Caps. A little overextended, a little over-eager in that split push.
All right, still very tough here if you are G2. Statement of the year by me right there. They're down 6k gold and almost all the towers are dead against a pure split push comp. But we have to say it, The further we get into the game, it's a boring caster statement we always make, but the further we do get in, the higher chance there is that G2 will actually get their 5-on-5 team fight, which is what their comp can do, which is what it's built for, where Fnatic's comp will not be as strong. Kennen, Elise, these kind of picks will not be as useful in a team fight. So if G2, by like some crazy way, if they can actually keep this game the way it is now, for another 10-15 minutes, there's definitely openings for them, but Fnatic should start looking around this Baron now.
Yeah.
They will have push in multiple side lanes, should force you to far back on the map, and then you should be able to start that Baron and either get a good flank fight or just get the Baron.
And for Fnatic, what is their vision situation? Starting to set up around Baron, so feeling the same direction. Deficio. As all of Fnatic are starting to group in the top. Stand United and teleports available for Soaz. He's matched by Expect in the bottom lane.
I wish it was like, whenever we talk about vision, with the vision toggle, it's a bit like in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you say like, machine, move two of the wrong answers. And in here, it's like, machine, turn on Fnatic vision only. Hint, hint, observers. There we go. Hey, it worked. It worked. Okay, let's see.
Look how much information they have.
So basically, they can see G2 in the jungle. They know that right now they have the river. That means Baron, Dragon covered. They can only see Trick walk in, and everyone else from Fnatic, from G2 is far back. 2 guys in mid tower, 1 guy in the bottom lane. You saw Nautilus right there. So Fnatic have full information on every single G2 member right now, and that's why they can play aggressive.
Good damage from Caps onto Miffy, but he's going to use Proto Belt defensively. Stand United onto Caps. Chrono Break finds no damage, and Unleash Power from Perks will be unable to kill anyone. Sven used the Fate's Call though, so a couple of very key ultimates blown in the skirmish for Vision.
Yeah, that was very important for G2 that they didn't lose a single member. Jezis might get caught out here. Forced to flash, maybe.
All right, Trick goes over the wall. Jezis has Flash and Strangle Thorns. Decides to use neither, and all of a sudden, Fnatic, they lose some of this pressure. They lose some of the tempo. They're getting caught out.
Fnatic basically were looking for the reset. Everyone backed away. Jezis didn't get the memo and ended up going out too late. Salting in a kill on him. But now we're seeing the G2 vision. This would actually been perfect before because they could barely see anything.
Yeah.
I could see 1 or 2 guys peeking their heads into the jungle from Fnatic. And yet G2 managed to actually survive the engage. No one died, they bought more time. This allows them now to push out the lanes. Top lane just got pushed out. Perks got a bit of a push mid lane. Bot lane is pushing for G2 very slowly. So they get a bit of like a reset, a bit of breathing room to go back to base now.
A reprieve from the pressure.
Yeah. And
that's
then,
a very elegant way of saying it.
That's beautiful. I would just say, they went back to base and now they're back on the map. There we go.
Production are telling me they don't believe you know the word reprieve.
That is very true as well. And by production, you mean Dirk, our producer.
I do indeed, I do indeed.
Because
our stats team talks to us and gives us information. Our production team trolls and has banter with Deficio.
Yes.
That's the quality of feedback we get here on air.
Every time I get to the caster desk, I get a producer in my ear saying Hodor, and I'm just like, yeah, hello.
Game of Thrones, new season's coming out soon. The trailer came out while we were on air. It's really quite cool, actually.
Did I watch the trailer yet?
No, it came out, you were on the analyst desk.
Yeah, but during the game, you can watch other stuff than EU LCS.
I don't.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. You really should not say those things. You really should not.
You guys shouldn't either, man. You should just be watching.
Deficio, we're busy watching G2 reclaiming Vision in the Baron pit. They're still down 6k, but they're not letting Fnatic split push.
And that's the thing. Fnatic have not been able to have these 2 lanes pushing down. Now, Source's bot lane, though, because Baron has been started with the Kalista.
All right.
But this is a very slow Baron.
It's very slow. Yes, it's Hurricane as well as Blade of the Ruined King, but there's just not enough damage to burst it down yet.
Another thing is there's full MR on Trick, so he can't actually tank the Baron. He has no armor. And Expect was back defending, so you can't really start the Baron without armor on any member.
Yeah. Thrill of the hunt from Trick. He's got a lot of time to find a target.
He's pushing mid.
Okay, gonna group up, and G2, they've at least forced Fnatic to respond, right? This isn't Fnatic dictating the map play.
Oh.
This is G2 controlling Fnatic and pulling them towards the G2 squad.
And that's the thing, Fnatic is still ahead. Fnatic can win a fight, can win the split push, everything. But because G2 are able to constantly push out this mid lane and get this Baron set up, they are now actually dictating what's happening on the map. Jezis.
50-50. Baron is not going to be the focus here. Caps is caught out.
Kalista, though, it's not a 50-50.
Rend plus Smite. Can G2 secure the Baron? There's a kill onto Miffy. This is getting messy. Sven is down after picking up Baron, but G2 lose 3.
So, Kalista with Rend secures the Baron for G2. They did lose 3 members. What else can Fnatic get? Infernal Drake is alive, but you need to get these towers here because you need to break open the base.
Surely that's not worth it, Deficio. Losing 3 members of your team just for the Baron gold, especially with Fnatic taking a tower.
Yeah, again, we have to remember it denies Baron from Fnatic, but if Fnatic can get an inhib, then no, it's not worth it. Big stun!
Perks gets caught by the cocoon. Broxa is a monster this game, every single time.
And now Fnatic get the inhib they were looking for, making this a very good trade for Fnatic. Can get Infernal Drake as well. Perks dead for another 40 seconds. I think if you are G2, going for the risky play is not terrible. You are far down. You're not expecting to get an easy way back into the game, and you have Kalista, so it's not a 50-50.
Right.
The problem is Fnatic did manage to react, got in there and actually killed them, took inhib, and suddenly it's really bad for G2.
And I'm a little disappointed with G2. This team composition from Fnatic, this type of play style from Fnatic, It's what everybody expected. And we'll catch a replay of this before we carry on with that discussion.
But we have to remember, one thing is watching Fnatic play this style. Another thing is actually playing against it yourself on stage. Because it is difficult when you play against like so many players trying to make these big plays, so many skirmish champions.
So good.
That's a fantastic stun. I like how
you
praised Broxah for pressing Q right there, but it's like Caps.
We didn't see that. We didn't see that.
Ah, that's a great Q from Broxah there.
The stun from Caps was off camera, and if I had seen it, I would have yelled about it, and I would have called him a different nickname because he's 3-1-3. He's played this Echo exceptionally well.
He's been good, man. He's been very good.
You know. He's growing up a little bit.
He is.
He's still got a bit of a youthfulness to his play. He's definitely the real deal.
He is definitely the real deal.
But yes, there was great setup from Caps and Fnatic. Double Infernals plus Supers. All right, they're going to just go play top or bottom lane now.
Yep, exactly. And that was kind of the thing, you know, G2 were using the Baron to try and find a way back into the game. But them getting the Baron and losing everything for it obviously doesn't make it worth it. And the problem still comes before. It's earlier. It's not just the Baron play. Like, they were so far down beforehand, they might try and set up a little trap. No, we get to see the Fnatic vision once again. So you can see they can see G2. If you switch it over to G2 right now, we're going to see almost nothing on the map. There's a few defensive wards. One more spot, Jess is right here. But that's about it. Like, also look, when your lanes are getting pushed in, you get zero vision in any of the lanes because your minions are not pushing out. You can see basically 10% of the map. That's all you're playing. That's your minimap right now. 10% of the original map.
So difficult to make choices and decide how to play your lanes. Down 10,000 gold, down 10 kills, down an inhibitor. And Fnatic, they're playing now on sort of two lanes. No one's working with those supers for obvious reasons. As now in the bottom lane, Expector's being jumped on. Timewinder comes up. They get the depth charge. That's a big engage tool if G2 want to try to defend one of those inhibitors.
Rest of Fnatic hoping to get just a few hits on towers every single time. If you can get Echo in to actually hit a tower with Lich Bane, he will chunk quite a bit of it, and then it's ways you can kind of slowly grind down the towers. You don't want to give it that all-in dive where you might risk G2 winning the fight. So like, as we saw here, Reckless and Broxah, a few hits. Like we see down here, bot lane, a few hits on tower every time, just a few hits.
Chunking it down. So it's very, very beefy. Got that Guardian Angel, Sunfire Cave, Spirit Visage, and Caps went in, got a couple of autos onto the tower before using his ulti to break away. Now remember, Baron going to slowly start timing out here. I think it may already have done so on the G2 squad. But Fnatic, how long can they keep this up before they have to reset and try to, you know, shop and redo all this push?
Well, they were kind of hoping to use the inhib mid being down, but obviously without Baron, it is a little bit harder. They're trying again. As long as they have push in mid, seems enough for them. Looking at the gold on the side, 1k plus on 4 members, and Jess is just above it. So it's not like they're poor or anything, but it's not like they can go back and buy an insane item either, so they could technically stay, push it out, but now you might have, you know, tried long enough, and now you can just reset, set up for next dragon. It's going to be Infernal. Maybe go back to this inhib that was open, but G2 will get a team fight. At least one.
At least one. That's what G2 is going to look for. They have to win that team fight and then a few more. If G2 want to try,
of course,
bring this game back in their favor. And to fish out, last week we talked about how Fnatic in game 1 of series tends to look really good and they're swinging.
That's true.
As one of the narratives that we had, and how, you know, last week against Giants they had a 23-minute win with Cap split pushing and doing phenomenal. And then Fnatic have lost the next 2 games. That's something that they did for a while, right?
Broke the curse.
They did against Giants. Is this one of those blips, you know? We're going to find out as the games play out, of course. But it's a great opening, and Jesus. Strangleforce comes down. Actually, wait, I might take that back. Stand United will deliver Soaz, and G2 all of a sudden somewhat split up. Trick fancies his chances, flashing forward. He gets the kill before his GA's pop. Now Sven looking for Reckless. Miffy's in there as well. Trick's on the back line, gonna get killed. It's Soaz that secures it. Reckless is killed on the back line. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of G2. Soaz forced to run for his life, and Caps has gone aggro. Chrono breaks to safety, manages to get over the wall, and Broxah misses a cocoon. Will that be impactful? Repels up onto the wall and takes the blast going to safety. G2 won the fight.
So that was the team fight we said G2 would get at some point in this game. They managed to win it 2-for-1. It's baby steps for G2 at the moment. But they can really only look for these fights here and then just hope to win every single one. Baron, 50 seconds.
You make it sound so easy.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, you take one fight at a time with your G2 because you have no map control. If you lose one of these fights, you might lose the game. So even a 2-for-1, it's a small win, but it's what you need. You need to keep getting these wins, to keep getting some items under your belt. It is hard to split push to win the game. Because again, we talk about it so often, the distance from Nexus, you know, to the 3 lanes, from the fountain, it's just so short. It's very easy for G2 to kind of move around and match the push from Fnatic. So it does end up being this, like, either you chunk towers or you try and win a fight. Now Baron is alive in 10 seconds, Trevor. Infernal Drake in 10 seconds as well. G2 are now on the map, which we can't say, or couldn't say for the last 5 minutes. Absolutely. They're actually out here to set up for a dragon and another team fight.
All right, and that's what G2 want to do. Looking down the list, no summoners and some of the key engage tools for G2, but ultimates are available.
Yeah, and now there is flash for perks, no flashes on the Fnatic carries. Infernal Drake started with the Kalista.
Caps is going to jump in, timeline is available. This isn't really a 50-50, he steals it from Rend. Caps!
Damn, boy. All right. Sven didn't manage to get the Rend off. I didn't see what Trick was with Smite. I think he just expected Sven to kind of secure it. There's a lot of damage from perks, though, with him jumping in with the E plus Lichbane proc.
Yeah.
Still, a Kalista in most situations should be able to take it without 100% knowing how much damage Caps actually dealt.
So, 3 Infernal Drakes on the side of Fnatic. The next Elder will be around 41 minutes. And that could be a huge swing because, yes, Fnatic have slowed down. They've not been able to push over those final hurdles with the split push. An Elder Dragon would allow them maybe more power in a fight to get over that hurdle.
Now let's see here again. G2 saying let's just rush this Baron to try and get our fight. Caps goes for the fight as well. Doesn't take that bot lane tower. Ren stacks are on it. Fnatic is here. Brock's at 50%. Soa's on the way. Caps is behind them. They don't know where Caps is.
Parallel convergence is coming in. Trick is the target. Caps won't be able to jump in. Baron's helping out. Hammering away onto Expect. Trick's going low on HP as Redemption buys him some time. There goes Caps. Defensive with the ulti. Expect's GA has popped and Soaz is on the front line. His GA is available. Can't bring it back up. But with Sven down, surely there's no damage. Reckless has a double kill. Soaz and Reckless running down Trick. That's Soaz on a rampage. Caps wants to clean up. He's looking for perks. Proto belt forward. The unleashed power at least allows a kill here for G2, but it's Reckless on a killing spree.
That was the fight we talked about that G2 couldn't lose because now Fnatic can run straight down towards the base. They have top lane minions, they have mid lane minions on the way as well, Trevor. 49 seconds on perks, 25 on Sven here. They have plenty of time.
They absolutely do. And the entire Fnatic squad minus Caps.
Oh, Mendy's going to try and get the wave.
Make their way into the base. This will buy some time, but can Fnatic take another inhibitor? Or do they just want to go back for Baron and play this one safe?
All right, so they're going for Baron here. No TP from Caps. Does have home guards. Again, perks still dead for another 20 seconds. So Fnatic, despite being fairly low, can start it with everyone back in base from G2.
Now remember, Fnatic looking for one game to really help their chances of securing third. If Fnatic take down G2 and Misfits, hell, they might be able to jump to second, depending on Misfits' other games. And talk about those expanded in a moment. Here's this team fight that went really well in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, because of the flank from Caps, then G2 can't commit to one side. So it ends up being Expect is down on the bottom side, but the rest of the carries don't really want to move around because then Caps can move in from the flank. So they have to kind of respect him from the side. And this actually means now that finally when Sven commits to one side, ends up going too far down and dies. And that's why Fnatic, with a very good flank here from Caps, without actually joining the fight specifically.
Yeah, just a threat.
Just being a threat out there. You saw Perks couldn't really go anywhere. Either he commits to the fight and gets jumped from behind, or he tries to go for Caps who stayed out of range. So really smart play here from the Echo, and it also allowed Reckless on his Kennen with Hurricane. Big difference from the top lane Kennen, who doesn't build Hurricane, when it comes to what you can do in a potential fight.
This is not split push Kennen. This is AD carry Kennen. They are different. They are different. I tried to stay serious with that one.
I like it.
I tried to. Okay, so Fnatic. They've got Baron. They've extended the gold lead. We're approaching 40 minutes, and G2 are 13,000 gold down. They're going to need some monumental team fights, or some oversteps from Fnatic here?
I think it's oversteps at this point now. If you are G2, like, this base should break. These towers should die. Caps can jump in, hit the tower there. That's one. There should be 3 inhibs now. Going down, Rexus will get the bottom one. This is perfect for Fnatic.
All right, Thrill the Hunt, thrown down from Trick, defensive ulti and flash from Jesus. Bowler Strike roots him in place, and Wild Growth buys some additional time. Reckless flashes forward aggressively, delivering Soaz to the front line. Mithy's gonna get popped. A flash forward from Soaz. He's looking for Sven. Sven's used the Mercurial Scimitar to try dash away to safety. With Mithy down and expect following. Fnatic are on the Nexus turrets. They've got supers pouring into the base. A taunt onto Sven. He's taken down as Reckless sends out the shurikens, turning his attention to Trick, stunning him up on the steps. The rest of Fnatic take down the second Nexus turret. They turn their attention to the Nexus, and Fnatic strike first in this best of 3.
Such an important win, as Trevor highlighted during the game. This means that Rocket needs to beat G2 on Saturday in order to take that playoff spot, just by Fnatic securing 1 game. So it removes a lot of pressure from these guys right now. But in Champ Select, we talked about, you know, is this Fnatic style legit? Is it the way to do it? And we're like, you know what? Against G2, a team who struggles against the unexpected, this might be the way for Fnatic to actually beat them. And in this game, the first 20 minutes, Trevor, G2 fell apart.
Yes.
They were just getting caught left and right. They engaged against Shen ultis. They fell so far behind.
Every single trap card that Fnatic left on the Rift was popped, and G2 walked into them. Hook, line, and sinker. Great, great game from Fnatic in the early stages, and I think in closing it out with that Baron. The Baron fights were both very good. We can start really breaking down the nitty-gritty of that split push and how it didn't really single-handedly get them over the hurdle, but it is such a difficult task to do.
It is. It definitely is. Also against G2, obviously, here in Europe, who is a very, very strong team. Also in the late game, but I think if you're Fnatic, like, you have now fully opted into this, like, pure split push.
Can it be banned out?
I mean, you can ban things like Shen, first of all. That is a key one, and I think it's going to get removed.
All right, we're going to find out.